Morning, this is Dale Callahan. I'm with you here. We want to talk about funds, types of ways to fund your business. This is a question we get all the time. I tell you what, people are just enamored with the idea of funding a business. It's almost like we want to wake up in the morning and somebody's going to write us a $1 million check to fund our business. And so I'm gonna talk about those because, in particular, venture capital, VC, venture capital financing. People just love it. They always want to. If I go to give a talk at a group and I talk about how to finance a business, and this is what they just will hammer me on questions about VC funding. Well, how do you get VC? What does VC want? And all that. We can talk about all that later, because let me just tell you, the fact of the matter is, um, probably, it's far less than 10% of the companies in the United States get venture capital funding. Clearly, it's a very important funding source, but very few people are going to qualify. Venture capital funding is only necessary and, in my view, only recommended when you just have no choice. It's but it's what everybody's enamored with. Let me just go over some ways of businesses are funding. Number one is bootstrapping. Bootstrapping. In other words, I paid for it myself. The stats are that a huge number of businesses, and I'm thinking it's like 85% of the businesses in the United States, and probably more so all over the world, were bootstrapped for less than $7,000. 7,000. Um, so, does it take much money to start a business? No. Does it? Do you have to put out your life savings and go get these massive loans and financing? No. Bootstrapping is by far the dominant method of people have created wealth. Even some large entities have been bootstrapped. There's been many a large company that has never borrowed or had investors until much later in time. Bootstrapping is by far the way. It's also my preferred method because you're in complete control. Um, but let's talk about the others. Loans. You hear Small Business Association loans. You hear uh, loans from banks and business loans, and everybody's always enamored about that. I want to go get a loan for my business. That because the word loan, we know what that means. We don't like that quite as much, but essentially, let me tell you what a business loan is. If you go get a business loan and you're a new business, all it is they're loaning you money. Because the first thing they're going to say is, well, how much? They're going to ask you to fill out this report, and the bankers are going to sit back there and look at it and say, well, you have a house that's worth $100,000 in equity that you have in it, and we want that equity. They're not funding the business; they're funding you, and that's just the way it is. And even businesses that have been around, that have been established for years, they're still funding you. The business has to be very well established and have a strong track record. Banks aren't investors; they're loaning money and they want their money back. So, do I like loans? No. Are business loans sometimes necessary? Yeah, I much prefer getting a business loan than a personal loan because borrowing $1 million on a business loan is you're usually borrowing it towards an asset or something that's going to bring in more than $1 million. Uh, but the loans, no matter what it is, if you're a fairly new business or not well established, don't have a long income stream, the loan is to you and to the founders of the company. We have and there's all kinds of things that are packaged under loans, but in essential, there's bootstrapping, and then there's loans. Um, then there's what's called investment. Now, investment is I get grandma to pay me $1,000. Grandma's rich, and I'm gonna get her to pay me 100 grand to invest in my company. Um, those are investors. Now, grandma might decide that she wants to give that money to you. More than likely, grandmama wants her money back. Uh, no matter what the first intention was when she gave it to you, probably later she wants it back. That's called friends and family investment. They call it F&F investment. So under investment is friends and family. I go out there and get my friends and my family to invest in my company. In other words, I'm going to you know I'm going to give you some of my company. You give me $1,000, I'm going to give you a share of stock or whatever it is. If my shares of stock go up to worth 10 million, well then you have your fair share. You won. More than likely, in many of those cases, that stock becomes worth nothing. You may have lost a friend and may have had very interesting Thanksgiving dinners from then on. Since we're in Christmas season, it's a good time to think about that. How do you want your Christmas to be with the person that, do you want your investor and the person you're opening a gift with under the Christmas tree to be the same person? Not me. Angel investors is another thing, and angel investors, I would call angel investors, and you hear this term a lot. This is my definition of an angel investor: somebody with more money than sense, because they're people that invest in your company. They oftentimes don't have good sense. They don't really know what they're investing in, but they love your pitch. They like what they hear, and oh yeah, I'll write you a check. So I'd tell you an angel person is somebody that's got more money than sense. Very often you see people looking for tax write-offs, if you lose it all, or they're looking for a big win. You see a lot of doctors and attorneys in here. You look for people hiding money for investments. Now that's an unfair statement, because some of them are very intelligent. Some of them really do their homework, and they know what they're investing in. But if I have to get an investor, I prefer an angel, because if you get the right one, and if you get a right partnership there, they're part of your company, and they can become like your grandfather figure, helping you in your company. If you get somebody who knows what they're doing. The other term is venture capital. Again, very, very, very few companies are going to do this. Venture capitalists are people who they're bankers on steroids, if you will. These are professional people. They're very often attorneys that work for a company that has lots of money. A large company may have Wells Fargo may have a venture capital team where they say, we're going to set aside, $100 million to invest in high-risk companies. And we're going to put this management team in place of these attorneys and bankers to manage that fund. And what they do, instead of investing in stocks and real estate, they invest that money in small companies, high-risk ventures that have a potential for extreme rates of growth. Typically, you'd see if they invest $1 million in you, they want $20 million back. $20 million back in 3 to 5 years. Does that ever happen? Yeah, it does happen. They're not going to invest in a company that you want to keep and hand to your kids. All they care about is, I want to invest money now, and sometime in the future you're going to sell the company or go public and we get our money back. It's strictly a money game. Nothing wrong with that. That's the business that they're in. But very few businesses get that. To me, if I have to choose one, bootstrap it. And we'll talk more about why bootstrapping is even the right thing for a venture capital funded company. But my point is, or the thing that I continue to see companies do, don't sit there and wait on money. I see companies that have great ideas that just chase money and chase money. They become professional money chasers. Don't be going after venture capitalists and angel capitalists and all this stuff as a career. Go make money. Many companies get in the trap of spending all their time writing business plans and going to venture capital meetings and doing all this stuff, and the whole time they're not getting investment, but they could be making some profit. So be careful. If this is the path you choose, do your homework and make sure you take care of your business, which is about making money, and not just the investment side. From your guru, Del Callahan, signing off. Thank you.